At my boss's daughter's wedding, she leaned in close and whispered, "Take that cheap suit off. You're embarrassing me." I thought she was joking. Then she looked down at my jacket again, and her expression didn't change. "I'm serious," she said. "Go change. Or leave." My name is Camilla Reeves. I'm 32, and at that moment, standing under crystal chandeliers, surrounded by 300 guests, I realized I wasn't invited there as a guest. I was invited as a reminder of where I came from. The suit wasn't cheap. It was the only one I owned. I had it tailored 2 days ago, paid for it in cash after working extra shifts at the office my boss owned. Her father. I'd worked under him for 4 years. Late nights, weekends, covered mistakes that weren't mine, built deals he took credit for. And tonight, I was standing at his daughter's wedding, like I didn't belong in the same room. "I'm not changing," I said quietly. For a second, nothing happened. Then, crack. Her hand hit my face so hard, my earrings snapped loose. The room didn't go silent right away. It happened slowly, like people realizing something had just gone very wrong. I didn't move, I didn't react, but someone else did. A man stepped forward from the crowd, caught her wrist, mid-air, and said 8 words that made my boss drop his glass. "You don't touch her again, not in my presence." His voice wasn't loud, but it carried, the kind of voice people don't ignore, because it doesn't need volume to command attention. For a second, no one moved. Her wrist was still in his hand, suspended in the air like time had paused around it. She tried to pull back, but he didn't tighten his grip. He didn't need to. The control was already there. "Let go of me," she snapped, louder this time. Not embarrassed, angry. He released her slowly. No rush. No apology, just certainty. That's when I saw my boss, standing near the head table, frozen. His face had gone pale in a way I had never seen before, not even when a $1 million deal almost collapsed last year. "Sir," someone whispered near him, but he didn't respond. He was staring at the man, not with anger, with recognition, and something else, fear. I turned back to the man who had just stepped in for me. Mid-40s maybe, clean suit, no tie, the kind of presence that doesn't try to impress, because it already knows it doesn't have to. He looked at me briefly, not with pity, not even with concern, just a small, almost invisible nod, like he had confirmed something to himself. Then he turned toward my boss, and that's when everything shifted, because my boss, my untouchable, always in control boss, took a step back. Like, he already knew what was about to come next. No one spoke, not the guests, not the band, not even the staff moving around the edges of the room. Everything slowed, but nothing stopped. My boss cleared his throat. "Sir, I didn't expect you here." His voice was different, careful, measured. I had never heard him speak like that, not to anyone. The man didn't answer right away. He just looked around the room, taking in the decorations, the guests, the scene. Then his eyes landed back on me. "She works for you?" he asked. Simple question, but something about it made my boss hesitate. "Yes," he said finally. "She's part of the team." Part of the team. That's what I'd been reduced to. After everything. The late nights. The pressure. The silent expectations. The man nodded slowly. "I see." He stepped closer. Not toward me, toward my boss. Close enough that no one else could pretend this wasn't personal anymore. "I reviewed the quarterly reports last week," he continued. "There were numbers in there that didn't match your projections." A pause. My boss swallowed. "We can discuss that later." "No," the man cut in. Calm, controlled. "We'll discuss it now." That's when it hit me. This wasn't just some guest. This wasn't a random interruption. Whatever this was, it had been building long before tonight. My boss forced a smile, glancing around at the guests. "This isn't the time. Actually," the man said quietly, "this is the perfect time." And, for the first time, that night, my boss had nothing to say. The room wasn't just quiet anymore. It was watching, every guest, every whisper, every half-raised phone, waiting. My boss adjusted his cufflinks like he could fix this with posture, alone. "We're in the middle of my daughter's wedding," he said, forcing a laugh that didn't land. "Whatever this is, it can wait." The man didn't smile. 4 vendor contracts, he said evenly. Inflated. Same shell company. Same signature. A pause. Yours. I felt it before I understood it. A shift. Like the ground under the room had just moved, and only a few people realized it. That's a serious accusation, my boss replied. But his voice had lost weight. It's not an accusation, the man said. It's a verified audit. Someone near the back let out a quiet, "Oh my God." My boss's daughter, still standing a few feet from me, still angry, looked between them, confused now. "Dad, what is he talking about?" No answer. The man reached into his jacket, pulled out a thin folder, and held it up just enough for my boss to see. Internal review, signed this morning. My boss didn't take it, didn't even move, because he already knew what was inside. "You've been moving money through that account for 18 months, the man continued, and you used her department to cover the discrepancies. Her. He meant me. My chest tightened. I hadn't known. But suddenly, everything made sense. The late-night revisions, the numbers that never aligned, the deals that always felt off. My boss finally spoke. Quiet. "Not here." The man tilted his head slightly. "You chose the place," he said. And that's when my boss's composure broke. Just a crack, but enough for everyone to see it. No one looked at me the same after that. Not the guests, not the staff, not even the woman who had just slapped me. Because suddenly, I wasn't just an employee anymore. I was part of something much bigger and "Camilla," my boss said, turning toward me for the first time since everything started. His tone had changed again, softer now, controlled, dangerous. "Step outside, we'll talk privately." I didn't move. For 4 years, I had done exactly what he said. Stayed late, stayed quiet, stayed loyal. But tonight, I stayed still. "I think we can talk here," I said. Not loud, not emotional, just done. A few guests shifted uncomfortably. Someone near the front pulled out their phone completely now. No more pretending. My boss's jaw tightened. "This isn't a request." "I know," I replied. That's when the man beside him spoke again. "She's not going anywhere." Simple, final. My boss exhaled slowly, like he was recalculating everything in real time. "Fine," he said. "Then let's be clear." He turned slightly, making sure people could hear, but not enough to look like a scene. "Those reports you worked on," he said to me, "you signed off on them." My stomach dropped. Not because he was wrong, because he was setting me up. "If anything is wrong with them," he continued carefully, "you're responsible too." There it was, the real move. Blame. And for a second, I understood exactly what he was trying to do, but what he didn't understand yet was that I had already prepared for this. Long before tonight. For a moment, it worked. You could feel it in the room. That quiet shift, where people start questioning what they just saw. Because blame is powerful, and he knew how to use it. I saw it in the guests' faces. Confusion, doubt, calculation. Maybe she was involved. Maybe this wasn't so simple. I let the silence sit. I didn't rush to defend myself, because this wasn't the first time I had seen this version of him. Careful, strategic, always one step ahead. Except, not this time. "You're right," I said. A few heads turned. Even the man beside me glanced at me, just briefly. "I did sign those reports." My boss nodded slightly, like the ground was stabilizing again. "But," I continued, "I also saved every version before they were changed." That was the first crack. Real one. Small, but sharp. "I kept the original files," I said calmly. Time-stamped, archived, on a separate drive. Now people were listening again. Not casually, carefully. My boss didn't speak, didn't interrupt, because he already knew where this was going. "You had me revise those numbers," I added. "Late nights, last-minute edits. Every time something didn't match, you told me to adjust the presentation." A pause. "You never said adjust the truth, but that's what it was." The man beside him stepped slightly forward, interested now, not surprised, like he'd been waiting for this exact moment. My boss finally spoke, low. "You're making a mistake." I shook my head. "No," I said quietly. "This is me fixing one." The room had completely turned now. No more whispers. No more guessing. People weren't watching a wedding anymore. They were watching a collapse. "I can bring the files," I said. "Right now." My boss's daughter laughed, sharp, defensive. This is insane, she said. You're really going to ruin this night over, what, office drama? I didn't look at her, because this was never about her. I already sent them, I said. That landed. Hard. My boss's head snapped up. To who? He asked. Not angry. Not yet. Worried. That was new. I met his eyes. The same person who ordered the audit. And for the first time, he didn't try to hide it. The fear. Real, visible fear. The man beside him didn't react dramatically. He just reached into his pocket, pulled out his phone, and checked something quickly. Then he looked up. It's been received, he said. Simple, final. A few guests stepped back, not physically, emotionally, like they didn't want to be part of what was coming next. You think this ends here? My boss said quietly. I didn't answer, because I didn't need to. The damage wasn't coming. It had already started. From somewhere behind us, I heard someone say, "Security's here." And just like that, the wedding stopped being a wedding, it became evidence, and my boss wasn't in control anymore. Security didn't rush. That was the unsettling part. Two men in dark suits stepped in quietly, spoke to the man beside me first. Not my boss. That told everyone, everything. This way, sir, one of them said. Not to me, to my boss. For a second, he didn't move. Then he laughed, not loud, not confident. Just thin. You're really doing this? Here? He asked, looking at the man. The answer came without hesitation. You chose the place. Same words, same tone. My boss looked around the room, at the guests, the phones, his daughter still frozen in place, and then, at me. You planned this, he said. I held his gaze. No, I replied. I prepared for you. That was the difference. His daughter finally spoke, her voice shaking now. Dad, what's happening? He didn't answer her, because he couldn't. Everything he built in front of people was unraveling in front of them, too. The man beside him stepped back slightly, giving security space. This is an internal matter for now, he said. But it won't stay that way. My boss nodded once, like he understood exactly what that meant. Legal, public, permanent. As they escorted him out, no one clapped, no one spoke. They just watched, because deep down, they knew this wasn't sudden. This was delayed. I stood there, alone again, but not small anymore, just steady. Later that night, I picked up my broken earring from the floor. Not to fix it, just to remember, because some moments don't end your life. They show you exactly where it begins.